Hello and welcome to the St Martin's Church podcast. My name's Niall Dunn and I'm the new worship leader here at St Martin's Church in Liskeard, Cornwall. And I'm on a mission really with this podcast to find out what goes on here in St Martin's. What makes it all tick and who are the people and what do they do. So in this first episode I interviewed the Vicar, Steve Morgan, to try and find out a little bit about where the church is and where it's going. Let's start off with just who are you?
Fine. Now I'm Steve, I'm from St Martin's Liskeard. We moved here from Tor Point. We've been here for about 2.5 years now. We had a brief spell in the Navy and that's what brought me to Tor Point. So yeah, we've had a great time in Cornwall. It's been good.
And I should say, you're the Vicar here in St Martin's.
I am the Vicar here at St Martin's, yes, that's my role.
So, yeah, what do you do? Like what does your day look like as the Vicar of St Martin's in Liskeard?
It kind of changes every day really now. So, like today, for example, I've got a bit of this morning I've got about 40 people have come to a communion service to do here. We do it in the hall, very informal, a bit of a raffle afterwards. Get lots of cheese scones. I love cheese scones. It's my absolute favourite. Everyone's listening. Don't give me cake, give me cheese scones.
That's useful information.
Useful information, isn't it? But then, or cheese straws, almost better. But
wow.
But then we've got a meeting, a really exciting meeting. You don't normally say that in the same sentence, do you? There's a thing in the Diocese of Truro which covers the whole of Cornwall called Transforming Mission, and we're part of St Martin Liskeard. We're really part of that. And it's a real spirit-led movement really about mission, and the idea is to try and work out how we can reach out as a church, as a diocese to everybody in Cornwall, grow this church and help some of our other churches, often smaller churches in the area, to do the same. And it isn't just talk either. There's resources behind it. We've got some money to employ people, so it's a really exciting time. So I'm really, really chuffed about that.
So I was just wondering. Well, firstly, so we're in Liskeard. Do you, if there's people listening, even who aren't even from this area, like what can you say about Liskeard? What kind of town is Liskeard?
I think it's a town that punches above its weight, really, because it's if you go to lots of towns in the southeast of England, they might be 10 or 15,000, roughly the size of Liskeard, and that's kind of how it is, really. But here, it's a proper market town. And I mean, the cattle market itself closed fairly recently. But even so, if you go into the street, it's full of cars the whole time and people come in from miles around. So I think it's quite an exciting place to be, really. The church is a great exciting place to be. I know the council have really got some plans to do things, and there's lots happening. And the longer I've been here, the more I've realised it is happening. But I won't beat about the bush because it has its issues, Liskeard. I mean, it's a great place, but like lots of Cornwall, we're not the wealthiest. It isn't like the southeast of England. So we have things we need to do, but actually, what I love is that people seem to be not bothered by that really. I mean, of course, it affects people. I'm not going to try and romanticise it, but at the same time, I have more fun here than I think I've had in pretty much any other job, and it's a laugh. And the schools are great too. We've got 3 schools we work closely with. We work with St Martin's School, Church of England School, Hillfoot School increasingly, and the secondary school. We're beginning to be part of that too. And so I like it. I love being here.
Can you sum up what kind of church you think St Martin's is now? Or can you describe St Martin's now, really?
Yeah, I think St Martin's is, the thing everybody says about it is it's a welcoming church. And I love that it's a church that welcomes people because Jesus welcomed people. And we want to reflect what Jesus did in his time, in our time. And of course, knowing that he's alive and with us now means that we've got not just the historical record of what he was, but also that great, confidence that he's with us while we do that. So we're a welcoming church. I think we're a church which is seeking the Spirit, and we're seeking what the Spirit wants us to do. So that's the kind of big stuff, I suppose. But we, as a church, we've got, I guess, 2 distinct sides, really. We've got the more traditional type stuff. If people like choirs, we've got a great choir, choir master. And I think we do that well. I think we do that really well. And and there's the more modern stuff, rock bands and what have you, and which I guess is more where we're leading, where the Spirit's leading us much more in that direction. And our vision as a church is to reach out to families and to reach out to people who don't yet come.
So at St Martin's, what's your demographic like? Who comes here?
That's a good question, and I think it's changing. It's changing rapidly, and that's a good thing. But so we have people from the entire age spectrum, which I love. But there is a missing generation, as we know. We're getting lots more families coming because we want to be geared towards families. We don't get cross if children run around. I think that's really important. We want to be welcoming in a way that causes us to change, not causing other people to change. But it is difficult, and I know in this world, to be to work with people in their kind of 20s and 30s, really, late teens and 20s and 30s. So we want to be a church which celebrates that. So I'm a great believer in that we give power and authority to people who just are good at stuff, regardless of their age, really. So I want to see a church where we've got people in their teens preaching and leading. I want to see a church where you've got people who other people would think are too old running stuff, because it's not about age or anything. But sometimes it's really easy to think you've got to be at least 70 or 60 or 50 before you're allowed to have any authority. I don't think that's true. And I'd much rather take a bit of a risk and let people just get on with stuff. That's really one of my passions. So we're about to, as part of Transforming Mission, we're hopefully going to be employing fairly soon a full-time youth worker and a full-time families worker to lead that whole thing, really. Just so, and not to kind of be naff about it, really. I think the most important thing we can do as a church is to tell it like it is. So I think as a church we've got our beliefs, and I think that if you have strong belief and love together, then that's a really powerful combination. And it's challenging, but I think people want to be challenged because the world we live in is a difficult place. So we need to kind of be ready for the difficulties.
So you mentioned a little bit about the vision of the church and looking to really reach out. Can you talk a little bit more about the kind of where you see the church going in these next few years?
I think this is what really excites me, and I always caveat this next kind of thing really with the idea, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So we're trying really hard not to have our own ideas and kind of twist God into supporting us. We want to be the other way around. We do want to listen to what God wants us to do, and we've been praying about this for a very long time. And what's kind of come out from lots of different reasons it's quite a clear vision, really. And the vision is first of all, as I said, to be a church which seeks the Spirit. And that might sound glib and overly holy, but it's really important to do that. And to be open and to be led where we're led. And we joke in the office sometimes that God's got his foot on the accelerator pedal, and he has, because sometimes just things happen, and it's brilliant, and there's a new thing every day. But we've got to be careful we don't put our little tiny feet on that same accelerator pedal or on the little brake and try and change it. We go with it. So what's the vision that's come out? Well, it's a church which is bigger. We want to grow as a church, not because we want to be important, but we want to be a big church so we can have a big impact. That's the point of it, really. We want to be a church that looks outwards. We're sending a group to Calais to work with refugees in a couple of weeks' time, and we want to be a church which does more of that. It is embedded in a local community, but not just in words, in deeds as well. We want to make sure that we keep that flavour. I've no intention at all of getting rid of all the traditional stuff. It's important. But I also know at the same time that the growth is likely to happen with the families and the more modern stuff. And we need to keep that kind of tension, if you like, and celebrate both. But actually, so my vision really is to be the vision I think that we as a church have got, not my vision, is to grow in every single aspect, in numbers, in depth, in spirit, in what we do, and in love. That's the most important thing, grow in love.
Exciting times.
It is exciting times. It's scary times, but it's good.
So there you have it. That was Steve Morgan, who's the vicar here at St Martin's Church in Liskeard. Really inspiring chatting to him about just where he sees things, where he sees them having come from, and where he sees them going with the church here. next week I'll be chatting to more people about the church here and what they do in the church, the different roles and the different things that are going on. So join us then.